Hi, I'm Brett Cenkus. I'm a business attorney focusing on mergers and acquisitions, and I am a merger and acquisition or M&A broker/advisor. If you want to book a paid call with me, you can do that at clarity.fm/Brett Cenkus. Today, we are talking about integration, the process of integrating companies post-acquisition, a very, very important part of M&A. And we're going to do a very quick overview of the three main approaches to integration. It's going to be a quick video. I'll do some further videos on deep diving into these different types of approaches and then different aspects of integration, different functions when you integrate them, IT, HR, things like that. But today, we're just going to talk about the three main approaches and when to use them. And so over half of M&As fail due to integration issues. That's what the research says. It's a very important part of any deal. Very important. And the serial acquirers, the General Electrics and Cisco's of the world, the ones that get this right, are very, very good at the process of integrating and following through. It's the closing table is I like to say the closing table is the starting gate, not the finish line, right? There's a relationship and there's a lot that needs to happen. And integration is important for small deals and large deals. It's as important for a $2 million deal as a $2 billion deal. Now, the extent of it, the communication challenges and the critical aspect of it is different at scale. It's just tougher to move large organizations, but fundamentally integration needs to happen at each level. And you need a plan, and that plan needs to have steps and communication and things like that we'll talk about more in another video. But it's the same process, obviously done differently at scale. I will talk today, really my focus is on slightly larger deals, think couple hundred million, but really the approaches again are valid for small business versus large business. So, and I'll try and point out if there's anything I say that's particularly unique to a larger versus a smaller. But let's start with it. The approaches are very simple and they're not incredibly creatively named. Okay. Number one is none, right? No or very limited integration. Number two is hybrid or medium, like integration. And three is full. So as I said, not super creatively named, but basically you're going to integrate hardly at all. You're going to integrate, in the middle, or you're going to integrate a lot. Okay, so let's add a little bit of substance to those things because the names in and of themselves seem a little bit basic, let's say. So the standalone, right, is you're going to buy a business and really not touch it. Right. And that's not to say you won't do anything. And by the way, these are not the dividing line between these different approaches is murky. In other words, there's like all sorts of in-betweens, even of these three approaches. But the first approach, the none or very limited, you're buying a business and you're hardly going to touch it. You're going to keep the management in place. You're going to keep the brand in place. Everything everyone sees from the outside will look the same. You may have some internal functions. You may have some legal or compliance or regulatory tax. All the financials might get folded up into the top parent company, but you're buying this and keeping it intact. And that makes sense when that business is number one, different than your core business, right? There needs to be a reason to buy it, but let's just say it's not exactly what you do and you're comfortable in that management team and they want to stick around, but it makes sense. There's some amount of, use a trite word, synergy to buy this business, but there's no point in trying to fold it all together. They have different customers, different experiences. It runs well as its own thing. Now that tends to not be the approach of a strategic acquirer. That tends to be the approach of a financial acquirer, private equity or a family office or something like that. And so this is more commonly used by those types of buyers, not strategics, just again, because why would you be buying something that has no real connection or wouldn't work well with your core business? Strategic acquirers usually will do one of the other two approaches. Okay, the second approach is medium or hybrid, right? It's the interim. It's you're buying a company and you're not going to fold it entirely into your existing business or businesses. You're going to keep it somewhat separate. So if you look at the different functions, departments or divisions or core functions of a business, you've got human resources and you've got IT and you've got sales and you have marketing and you've got compliance and all these different things. So you might fold some of them in together and not others. And so you're typically going to be folding in your back office things before your front office. And so it might make a lot of sense to to fold all the core back office functions together. But let's say the research and development, for example, R&D function of this particular company is just off the charts, and they have a unique culture, and it's just like skunk works, right? You might not want to bring that into your business. You might want that to operate on its own, have some degree of autonomy, but the business still, there's lots of aspects of it that do need to be folded in. And so it might be that when I just touched on culture of the research and development, the R&D group, if the culture of the whole business were very different, right, then you've got to be careful, should you even be doing this acquisition? But that would have you leaning towards keeping it as the whole thing as standalone. In this example, the distinction is, I'm saying it might be the R&D team is just so unique, the way it functions, that folding that together with your existing wouldn't make sense. It just operates great on its own. Let's let this thing have autonomy. Let this group do this. They work so well together. And then you got to be careful with that, because a lot of employees don't like change. And during an acquisition, they'll tell you, oh, we don't want to work with them, or we're good alone. And they just, that's often the case, but there may be something extra special in the water or the secret sauce of a group. It could be sales or something that's so unique that it's like, let's not touch that thing. But the rest of this business works really great with ours. Another time this is sort of used, or another way this is used, is in a two-step integration process. And so it might be that long-term, we're going to integrate fully, but in the shorter term, we want to stabilize and not rock the boat. And so that might be a sort of a two-step integration process where you integrate medium and then move forward into full. And there really has to be compelling reasons to do that. It shouldn't be just because we're so busy and we're scared of the full integration and people don't like it. You don't kick the can on it. There needs to be a real reason why there's certain aspects of this that really just work well to not touch them for a while, right? And so it's a very intentional, clear two-step process. So you're going to communicate up front that, because communication is key. I'll do more videos about integration and the tips and the tricks and how to do them, but absolutely communicating with employees and stakeholders up front and regularly, often and clearly are very important. Again, for a $2 million deal or a $2 billion deal, if you were to do a two-step integration, you would communicate up front, this is how we're doing it. Again, very intentionally. It wouldn't just be because we don't want to get around to it, because otherwise, if the goal is full integration, and let's move to that one, then really the best time to do that is right away, to be clear about it and just do it. I mean, there's never a good time to do this kind of thing. It's not easy. That's why there's videos. That's why there's teams that come in and just do integration, third-party groups and consultants, because it's hard and you've got to continue to run your existing business and the one you purchased, but doing it quickly makes sense. And there's a certain ready, fire, aim aspect to that will be criticized, that people will say, oh, you should have done this differently. There's no question. And it's not to say you shouldn't take some time and be thoughtful about what you do, but there's just always going to be, nothing's going to be perfect. There's going to be a lot of feathers ruffled. There's going to be a lot of friction along the way in getting this done. And so really, if you're going to do a full integration, the best time to do it is be clear, we are doing this, and do it right away. And if you're going to lose people over it, look, those people might be on the fence anyway. Push them out the door. It's a good inflection point. Like, really, you don't want to lose great people, but if they're half into this business and half out, does it really make sense to just, have them stay around, somewhat reluctantly, just because you're not, forcing change. So in other words, it really works well to get in there and say, this is the plan, this is what we're doing, and just do it, and have a timeline. And again, we'll talk about more about tips and tricks in the future, but that's full-blown integration. That's not what a financial buyer would do, unless it's like private equity and they're building a platform business and running that like a strategic. But strategic acquirers are usually going to lean towards a full integration, right? And the products, there might be a reason this would be a medium integration if they just kept the brand separate, but everything else, even the sales, came like together, but we just continue to market the brand separately. That might be medium, but a lot of times the brand gets changed, everything gets changed and folded in and run as one company. That's a full-blown full integration. So there you go. Those are the approaches to integration, a quick video. I am intending in the near future to do more videos, deeper diving on those, talk about steps and tips and tricks, traps for the unwary, and also deep diving into some of those functions I talked about, like HR and those other things. So look forward to those. If you've got a question, drop it down below. Would love you to like or subscribe. That's always appreciated. And if you want to book a paid call with me, you can do that. I usually can get me the same day if you want to do that through clarity anchor.fm/Brett Cenkus. There is a link in the description to that site. It's a third-party site, and I appreciate you watching today. Thank you.